I suppose I dreamt about it in some respects. I'd kind of wished it in many. But I came here and I felt lucky.
They fired James Bond. That's the call Pierce Brosnan got while staying in the Bahamas. Just months earlier, producers couldn't stop praising him, calling him the perfect 007. But in a single moment, everything changed. The man who saved the franchise with GoldenEye was fired without any notice. But what happened behind the scenes? Why did Hollywood suddenly turn its back on him? At 68, Brosnan breaks his silence to reveal the betrayal, the heartbreak, and the truth about his final days as 007. This is the story the studio never wanted you to hear. Pierce Brosnan was born on May 16, 1953, in Drogheda, Ireland. His mother, May Smith, was only 19 years old when she gave birth. She had married Thomas Brosnan just 9 months earlier. Life changed early for Pierce when his father left the family. Pierce was just a baby when Thomas walked away. Growing up without a father was hard, especially in Ireland at the time, where society judged broken families harshly. Pierce met his father only once, years later, when he was 31. Thomas showed up unannounced, and they spent a short time together over a cup of tea. Then Thomas left again, never to return. Reflecting on that brief meeting, Pierce later said, "He was a good whistler and had a good walk. That's all I know about him." When Pierce was 4, his mother made a difficult decision. She moved to London to train as a nurse, hoping to build a better life for both of them. She visited only once or twice a year, and while Pierce missed her deeply, she worked tirelessly to ensure a brighter future. Pierce's life took a big turn when he moved to London in 1964 to live with his mother and her new husband, William Carmichael. William treated Pierce like a son and introduced him to something that would shape his future. He took Pierce to see the James Bond movie Goldfinger. For the young boy, it was an exciting experience. It also became one of his first memories of having a father figure. Pierce didn't know then that he would one day play James Bond himself. That day at the movies planted a seed in his life that would grow into something far greater than he could have imagined. Adjusting to life in London wasn't easy. At school, his Irish accent made him stand out, and classmates often teased him, calling him Irish. The culture at Elliott School in Putney felt foreign to him, and finding his place among his peers was a challenge. When Brosnan left school at 16, he planned to become a commercial illustrator and began studying at St. Martin's School of Art. But fate had other plans. One day, he saw a fire eater performing at the Oval House Theatre, and something clicked. The performance inspired him to step into a world he hadn't considered before: acting. He enrolled at Drama Centre London, a prestigious institution known for its intense training. Those 3 years were life-changing for him. The rigorous method-based approach helped him discover his talent and gave him the tools he needed to succeed. For Brosnan, it was more than just learning. It was freedom and a chance to reinvent himself. After graduating in 1975, Brosnan started his career in theater, working as an assistant stage manager at York Theatre Royal. His first big moment came when renowned playwright Tennessee Williams chose him for the British premiere of the Red Devil Battery sign. Williams was so impressed that he sent Brosnan a telegram saying, "Thank God for you, my dear boy." Brosnan treasured those words deeply. Not long after, in 1977, he caught the attention of director Franco Zeffirelli, who cast him in Philomena, where he acted alongside theater legends like Joan Plowright and Frank Finlay. These early experiences built the foundation of his career. In 1982, Brosnan's life took a major turn when he landed the lead role in NBC's Remington Steele. The show was groundbreaking for its time, flipping the usual detective story formula by focusing on a professional woman's perspective, while Brosnan's character brought charm and mystery. His unnamed con man turned detective added sophistication to the show, often referencing classic films to solve cases. The series became a hit, running successfully until 1987, and introduced Brosnan to a global audience. The romantic tension between his character and the female lead became a popular theme that's now common in TV dramas. Then, in 1986, Brosnan got the opportunity of a lifetime. After a grueling 3-day audition, he was offered the role of James Bond. It seemed like his destiny was unfolding, until bad timing struck. NBC decided at the last minute to renew Remington Steele, using a clause in his contract to keep him tied to the show. The news devastated Brosnan. The show only lasted 5 more episodes, but the chance to play Bond went to Timothy Dalton. Brosnan called it heartbreaking, but he didn't let it define him. The wait turned out to be worth it. On June 8, 1994, at exactly 12:30 p.m. in London's Regent Hotel, Brosnan was officially announced as the 5th 007. But this wasn't his first time being chosen for the role. When GoldenEye was released on November 17, 1995, it became a turning point for James Bond. It had been 6 years since the last Bond movie, and many feared the franchise might be outdated. But the film proved everyone wrong. With a $60 million budget, it made an incredible $356.4 million worldwide, becoming the 4th highest-grossing movie of 1995. This was more than all the Bond films from the 1980s combined. In its opening weekend, GoldenEye brought in $26.2 million across 2,667 theaters in America, showing how much people loved Bond's return. Brosnan's version of James Bond stood out because he combined the best traits of his predecessors. He had Sean Connery's confidence, Roger Moore's charm, Timothy Dalton's intensity, and George Lazenby's athleticism. Critics loved this mix. Roger Ebert gave GoldenEye 3 out of 4 stars and said Brosnan's Bond felt more vulnerable and complete than the earlier versions. He managed to keep the classic Bond style while making the character feel fresh and modern. The movie itself also brought big changes to update Bond for the 1990s. For the first time, the character of M was played by a woman, Dame Judi Dench, based on Stella Remington, the real-life head of MI5. GoldenEye also embraced new technology, becoming the first Bond film to use CGI effects. It was even the first movie shot at Leavesden Studios, which later became famous for hosting big productions like Harry Potter. The plot tackled the post-Cold War world, with M calling Bond a relic of the Cold War, directly acknowledging how times had changed. His next movie, Tomorrow Never Dies, was a remarkable success, earning $333 million worldwide, despite releasing alongside the juggernaut Titanic. The movie brought in $120 million in profit for MGM UA at a critical time when the studio was undergoing a massive buyout by Kirk Kerkorian. Pierce Brosnan shone in his role as James Bond, blending classic charm with a modern action hero's energy. The film's storyline about media manipulation felt ahead of its time, and Michelle Yeoh's character, Wai Lin, broke new ground as a Bond girl who could match 007 in both combat and intelligence. It was a fresh and exciting evolution for the franchise. In 1999, Brosnan returned for The World Is Not Enough, which grossed an impressive $361.8 million globally. Directed by Michael Apted, the film took a darker, more psychological turn, and Brosnan delivered one of his most layered performances. The action started with an unforgettable boat chase on London's River Thames, the longest pre-title sequence in Bond history at that time. While Denise Richards' casting as nuclear physicist Dr. Christmas Jones was controversial and earned her a Razzie Award, Sophie Marceau's portrayal of Elektra King as the first female main Bond villain drew widespread praise. The film was also bittersweet, marking the final appearance of Desmond Llewellyn as Q after an incredible 36 years in the role. Brosnan's final Bond film, Die Another Day, released in 2002, became his highest-grossing, earning $431.9 million worldwide. It celebrated 40 years of the Bond franchise with clever nods to previous films. The production faced challenges, including rewriting the climactic satellite attack scene, initially set in Manhattan, in light of the 9/11 attacks. Halle Berry starred as Jinx, fresh off her Oscar win, becoming the first Academy Award winner to play a Bond girl. Despite strong competition from blockbusters like Harry Potter and The Lord of the Rings, the film proved to be a major success, further solidifying Brosnan's impact on the series. Across 4 films, Brosnan's era as James Bond generated a staggering $1.48 billion at the box office, averaging $370 million per film. Each movie outperformed the last, with Die Another Day breaking franchise records. Brosnan's success not only revitalized the series, but also helped MGM secure its future, ensuring the franchise stayed relevant for a new generation. Brosnan's influence extended far beyond the films. His version of Bond became a cultural icon, even inspiring the groundbreaking video game GoldenEye 007 for Nintendo 64, which became a phenomenon in its own right. Bond's image, tied to Brosnan, appeared in countless advertisements, generating over $100 million in marketing deals. In July 2004, Pierce Brosnan was in the Bahamas filming After the Sunset when he received an unexpected phone call that changed everything. Just months earlier, while promoting Die Another Day alongside Halle Berry, producers had enthusiastically praised his work, saying they wanted him back for a 5th James Bond film. Brosnan left that tour confident he'd continue as 007. But now, staying at Richard Harris's house, a place filled with memories of his late friend, he got the news. Negotiations had stopped. His agents tried to soften the blow, telling him, "They're not quite sure what they want to do. They'll call you next Thursday." It was a moment of disbelief and confusion. When Brosnan finally spoke with producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson, the conversation revealed the emotional complexity of Hollywood decisions. Broccoli, who had supported Brosnan from the start, was crying as she told him it was over. She had fought hard for him back in 1994, even after he lost the role in 1986 due to his Remington Steele commitments. Her tears showed how difficult this decision was for her. Wilson, on the other hand, was calm and businesslike. He simply said, "You were a great James Bond. Thank you very much." Later, in interviews, he voiced his frustration, calling the studio unimaginative and stale, and accusing them of being stuck in the past. After leaving the Bond franchise in 2004, Pierce Brosnan surprised everyone with a dramatic shift in his career. He took on a completely different kind of role in The Matador, 2005, playing a quirky and unstable hitman, a sharp contrast to his smooth 007 persona. The performance earned him a Golden Globe nomination, showing he was more than just James Bond. Brosnan later admitted he felt the need to kill Bond in order to move forward. He continued challenging himself with gritty roles like Seraphim Falls, 2006, a Western where he embraced rough, unglamorous characters. This period marked a turning point, as he also stepped into producing through his company, Irish Dreamtime, giving him more control over his projects. Then came a move no one saw coming. Brosnan joined the cast of the musical Mamma Mia in 2008. Despite having no professional singing experience, he dived into the project. The film became a global phenomenon, earning nearly $600 million on a modest $52 million budget. Although his singing got mixed reviews, something he later joked about, the success of Mamma Mia was undeniable. It not only surpassed the box office earnings of his Bond films, but also made him a part of the highest-grossing live-action musical franchise, with the sequel in 2018 adding another $400 million to the total. In 2010, Brosnan delivered one of his most acclaimed performances in Roman Polanski's The Ghost Rider. Playing Adam Lang, a character loosely inspired by Tony Blair, Brosnan brought depth and subtlety to the role of a former British Prime Minister shrouded in controversy. The film was a critical success, winning numerous awards and grossing over $60 million. It proved Brosnan's ability to shine in serious dramatic roles, cementing his status as a versatile actor. In 2022, Brosnan ventured into the superhero world with Black Adam, playing the wise and powerful Dr. Fate. Even at 69, he brought gravitas and elegance to the role, which involved extensive CGI, a new experience for him. His performance was widely praised, with producer Hiram Garcia highlighting how Brosnan's presence elevated every scene and made him a mentor figure for the younger cast. It was a bold move that showed his ability to stay relevant in Hollywood, even decades into his career. In 2023, Brosnan revealed another side of his creativity, his art. At age 70, he held his first solo exhibition, So Many Dreams, in Los Angeles, showcasing paintings and drawings created over decades. His artistic journey began during a difficult time in 1987, when his wife, Cassandra Harris, was battling cancer, leading him to create his first painting, One Dark Night. The exhibition featured 50 paintings and 100 drawings, including portraits of Picasso and Anthony Bourdain. Later, his works appeared at Art Miami, where 5 major pieces were showcased. Brosnan's style, influenced by Matisse, Chagall, and Picasso, often starts with simple doodles that evolve into abstract portraits and landscapes. In a candid 2020 interview with The Guardian, Brosnan revealed his mature approach to being abruptly removed from the Bond franchise in 2004. "I was utterly shocked and just kicked to the curb," he admitted, but transformed this potential bitterness into wisdom. His mantra, "I do not let regret come into my world. It just leads to more misery and more regrets," became his guiding principle. Looking back, Brosnan often described Bond as the gift that keeps giving. His tenure as the iconic spy not only solidified his career, but opened countless doors. For Brosnan, Bond wasn't just a character. It was a platform that transformed his career. "That's the beauty of Bond," he reflected. "It opens doors that were previously closed and allows you to define yourself beyond the role." Yet, Brosnan also understood the double-edged nature of the Bond legacy. "Once you're branded as a Bond, it's with you forever," he said. This wasn't just about being typecast. It influenced every step of his career. While he enjoyed the fame and opportunities the role brought, it also came with limitations. For Brosnan, the key was acceptance. "You either make peace with it or you go mad," he said, fully aware of how the role could both elevate and restrict an actor. When Daniel Craig took over as Bond, Brosnan offered words of encouragement. In a 2021 video message, he praised Craig's performance. "You did a magnificent job, Daniel. You were truly a great Bond. Hats off to you." In the late 1970s, Pierce Brosnan met Australian actress Cassandra Harris, and their connection was instant. She was introduced to him by David Harris, the nephew of actor Richard Harris. Brosnan was immediately captivated by her. "What a beautiful-looking woman," he remembered thinking. He never imagined she would become the love of his life for the next 17 years. They quickly fell in love, bought a house together in Wimbledon, and got married in December 1980. Cassandra played a special role in shaping Brosnan's future. She appeared as Countessa Liesl von Schlaf in the 1981 James Bond film For Your Eyes Only. During filming, she introduced Brosnan to producer Albert R. Broccoli, a meeting that would change his career years later. Cassandra already had 2 children, Charlotte and Christopher, from her previous marriage to Dermot Harris. When Dermot passed away in 1986, Brosnan stepped up and adopted both children, saying it felt completely natural. "I didn't feel like a father at first. I was just Pierce. But then I became Daddy Pierce, and later, simply Daddy," he said. Their bond grew stronger over time. Brosnan and Cassandra also had a son together, Sean, born in 1983. Having grown up without a father himself, Brosnan made it his mission to give his children the love he never had. "I want my children to know love when they are young, to truly feel what it means," he often said. But their happiness was tested in 1987, when Cassandra became gravely ill while Brosnan was working in India. Doctors discovered she had ovarian cancer. "From the start, we knew it was serious," Brosnan said. "It wasn't just a shadow. It had invaded her completely." Over the next 4 years, Cassandra underwent 8 surgeries and countless chemotherapy sessions. Despite her illness, she remained a devoted mother, often helping their son Sean play doctor and staying involved in Brosnan's career plans. Even in her final days, lying in bed together, Cassandra comforted him, saying, "Please, darling, don't worry. It's just a life winding down." She passed away on December 28, 1991, at just 43 years old. 3 years later, in 1994, Brosnan met journalist Keely Shea Smith on a beach in Mexico. She was there for an interview, but couldn't help noticing Brosnan. He was tall, dark, and handsome, with a sparkle in his eyes, she said. Their relationship developed slowly, giving Brosnan time to heal from his loss. Keely became a source of comfort and strength for him. Together, they welcomed 2 sons, Dylan in 1997 and Paris in 2001. In August 2001, they married in a beautiful ceremony at Ballintubber Abbey in Ireland. Brosnan often speaks about Keely with deep gratitude. "She's my North Star," he said. "She encouraged me to grieve Cassandra, to let myself feel it. I could search a million lifetimes and never find someone as wonderful as her."